I've watched 11 people I love die. 11. My mama, my daddy, my husband, 2 sisters, my oldest boy, and 5 people who weren't blood but might as well have been. Every single one of 'em gave signs before they went. Signs most folks didn't want to see. Signs they looked right past because the truth was too heavy to hold. My name is Dolores, Dolores May Hutchins. I'm 95 years old, born in a hollow outside Cookeville, Tennessee, back when Roosevelt was still figuring out how to feed this country. I've buried more people than I care to count. I've sat at bedsides, I've held hands that were already going cold, and I ain't telling you this to scare you, child. I'm telling you because somebody needs to say it plain. There are 5 signs that show up in what turns out to be a person's last year on this earth. Not their last week, not their last month, their last year. And if you know what to look for, you don't get caught off guard. You get time. Time to say what needs saying. Time to hold on a little tighter. Time to make peace with what's coming. I ain't no doctor, never was, but I've been a student of dying my whole life, because where I grew up, death wasn't something you hid from. It sat right at the kitchen table with you. So let me tell you what I've seen. The first sign is the pulling away. It's subtle. You almost miss it. Somebody who used to love their garden just stops going outside. Somebody who never missed Sunday service starts saying they're too tired. My husband Earl was a man who could talk to anybody. Strangers at the gas station, the mail carrier, didn't matter. But about 10 months before he passed, he got quiet. Not sad quiet, finished quiet. Like he'd said everything he needed to say to the world, and now he was just listening to it hum. Doctors call it declining social engagement. I'll tell you what it really is. The soul starts turning inward. It's like a house where somebody's slowly closing the curtains one window at a time. The lights are still on inside, but they ain't for the neighbors anymore. If someone you love starts pulling back from the things that used to light 'em up, don't drag 'em back into the noise. Sit with 'em in the quiet. That's what they need. Not more activity, more presence. Second sign, the body whispering goodbye. Now listen, I don't mean a heart attack or a fall or something sudden. I mean the slow things, the appetite that just fades. Food that used to bring joy starts feeling like a chore. Weight coming off and nobody can explain why. My sister Ruthie, Lord rest her, was a woman who loved to eat. Cornbread, butter beans, fried okra, you name it. But that last year she'd sit at the table and push things around her plate like a child. She'd say, "Dolores, it just don't taste like nothing anymore." What's happening is the body starts conserving energy for the organs that matter most. Metabolism slows way down. Something called cachexia can set in, where the body breaks down its own muscle. Not because there's no food, but because the body's already started its long goodbye. It ain't stubbornness, it's biology doing what biology does when the road gets short. Don't fight 'em over every bite. Offer what they want, even if it's just broth or a little sweet tea. The goal ain't nutrition anymore. It's comfort and dignity. Always dignity. Third sign is the one nobody talks about, the sleep. Child, this one breaks my heart because so many families get it wrong. They think mama's just tired. They think daddy's being lazy. But when someone starts sleeping 14, 16 hours a day and then other nights can't sleep at all, that ain't just fatigue, that's the body's clock unwinding. The circadian rhythm, that internal clock, starts falling apart. The brain makes less melatonin. Temperature regulation goes haywire. My boy Thomas slept all day and then would be wide awake at 3 in the morning talking to people who weren't in the room. At first we thought he was confused, but his eyes were clear. He wasn't losing his mind. He was somewhere between here and there. I learned not to correct him. I'd just say, "Who you talking to, baby?" And sometimes he'd smile and say, "Mama, you wouldn't believe who came to visit." You can call that hallucination if you want. I've seen it too many times to dismiss it. Something happens in that space between waking and sleeping when the end draws near. Something tender I don't fully understand, and I've made my peace with not understanding it. Now, fourth sign. This one fools people. It's the surge. Some call it the rally. Someone who's been declining for months suddenly has a good day, a great day. They want to eat, they want to talk, they want to get dressed and sit on the porch. The family gets excited. Maybe the doctors were wrong. Maybe they're coming back. Honey, this is the hardest one to talk about. Because that surge, that beautiful, terrible burst of life, it's often the body's last gift. Researchers call it terminal lucidity. The brain, for reasons nobody fully understands, clears the fog one final time. When Earl had his surge, he woke up on a Tuesday and asked me to make biscuits. Real biscuits, the way his mama used to. He ate 3, told me I was still the prettiest woman he'd ever seen, which was a lie, but a good one, called both our boys on the phone, laughed like he hadn't laughed in months. That night he held my hand and said, "Dolores, it's been a real good ride." Lord have mercy, he was gone by Thursday. If you see that surge in someone you love, don't waste it arguing about whether it means they're getting better. Just receive it, be in it. It's a gift, and gifts don't come with guarantees. Fifth sign, the settling. This one's quiet. It's the person who starts giving things away, who tells you where the important papers are, who brings up old arguments just to say sorry, who looks at you a beat too long like they're trying to memorize your face. My neighbor Clara, 3 weeks before she passed, brought me a quilt her grandmother had made. Just showed up at my door with it folded in her arms, said, "I want this to go to someone who'll appreciate it." I told her, "Clara, don't talk like that." And she looked at me with the clearest eyes and said, "Dolores, I ain't scared. I'm just getting my house in order." That settling ain't depression. It ain't giving up. It's acceptance, earned through a whole life of living and fighting. They ain't surrendering, they're completing. There's a difference, and it's a holy one. If someone starts settling their accounts with you, let 'em. Forgive quickly. And if they try to give you something, Take it with both hands and say thank you, because they ain't just giving you an object, they're giving you a piece of themselves to carry forward. Now, pulling away, the body whispering, the sleep, the surge, the settling, 5 signs. And I know some of you sitting there right now are thinking about somebody, maybe someone showing one of these signs, maybe 2, maybe you're seeing it in yourself. Here's what I want to leave you with, and I mean this from the deepest part of my old, tired, still beating heart. Dying ain't the tragedy. The tragedy is all the things left unsaid while there's still time to save 'em. The tragedy is sitting in the same room with someone you love and being too afraid of the truth to just hold their hand and whisper, "I see what's happening, and I ain't going anywhere." I'm 95. I've seen more endings than most, and the ones that haunt me aren't the ones where someone died. They're the ones where someone died alone in a room full of people who were too scared to look the truth in the face. Don't be afraid of these signs. They ain't enemies, they're messengers. And if you listen to them, they'll give you something nothing else in this life can. The chance to love someone all the way to the end. Go call somebody tonight. You know exactly who I'm talking about. This old woman said her piece. God bless.